So, of course, Ross, the government, the president, in fact, even, has been blaming China for El Salvador's decision to sever ties with the island.
That's right, and of course it's no surprise the government has attempted to talk with China and attempted not to be in a diplomatic war. And China has rejected all the overtures from Taiwan. And in fact, instead of accepting the overtures, China is taking these kinds of actions in the international community to shrink Taiwan's space. So yes, from the government perspective, they're going to blame China 100%. On the opposition side, the KMT, they'll blame China 80% and say, well, okay, but you're not agreeing to the 92 consensus. Maybe if you return to that, then China would return to the diplomatic truce that existed between 2008 and 2016. Whether that's a winning argument with Taiwan's public remains to be seen going into the local and subsequently the national elections.
And of course, the Mainland Affairs Council has used some strong language and says that Taiwan has stern faith in self-defense and a democratic system against communist China's brutish practices in reference to the poaching of allies.
That's a very interesting point because we see yesterday, and it's not the first time it's happened with the recent termination of diplomatic relations. First, the foreign minister has a press conference. Then the president has a press conference with some of her national security teams, such as the foreign minister, National Security Council Secretary General, Secretary General of the Presidential Office, Premier, Vice President, all standing behind her. Then the Mainland Affairs Council comes out with its own very strongly worded statement. Why are so many different parts of the government making statements? Perhaps it would be better if the president by herself takes responsibility for this, and that would just give the public here in Taiwan, who's the first stakeholder here, right? The first stakeholder is protecting the national security as well as the dignity of Taiwan. It might be a little confusing for the public to see that so many different voices are coming out with statements, let alone the international media, because Taiwan needs to give a coherent message to the international media as well. So perhaps it would be better if there weren't so many different statements. One strong statement from the president should be sufficient.